The arena was vast and cold,
The ritual
stretching far into the
begins.
glowing skies above. Towering stands circled it, filled with creatures of all shapes and sizes. Their eyes glowed in colors unknown to humans, and their claws tapped impatiently against metal railings. At the center of the arena, Kael, the human, sat on his small wheeled platform. He had no legs, only strong arms and a determined face. The aliens stared at him, whispering and laughing. "Look at him," hissed a four-armed alien with scaled skin. "How can this weak creature even move?" Kael did not answer. His eyes scanned the arena calmly, observing the giants around him. He could feel their mockery, the weight of every sneer and jeer. But he did not panic. His breathing was steady, his mind sharp. The crowd leaned forward, anticipating a spectacle of blood and brute force. They expected him to fail, send in the first warrior. A booming voice echoed through the arena, amplified by strange alien sound devices. From the shadows, a massive figure emerged. Its armor gleamed with strange energy, spikes bristling from its shoulders. The warriors stomped toward Kael, each step shaking the floor. The crowd cheered, confident in their chosen champion. "Crush him!" they yelled. Kael watched silently. He did not flinch as the alien approached. Every being in the arena laughed, calling him slow, useless, weak. Even other humans had rarely seen one survive this stage. But Kael had spent years preparing for moments like this. Years when others doubted him, when the world told him he was too weak to matter. And now, in this alien arena, he would show them how wrong they were. The warrior lunged, swinging a massive arm covered in blades. Kael rolled forward with surprising speed for someone without legs, narrowly avoiding the first strike. Sparks flew as the blades scraped the metal floor. The crowd gasped, shocked by his agility. Whispers ran through the stands. Did he dodge that? Kael's hands moved quickly. From beneath his platform, he pulled a small cylindrical device and tossed it in front of the warrior. It exploded with a blinding flash of light and a loud, disorienting hum. The warrior staggered, momentarily blinded. The crowd murmured in confusion. This human, slow and legless, had tricked the strongest fighter they had sent first. Kael didn't waste a moment. He grabbed two hooks attached to the platform and swung himself forward, rolling toward the warrior. His eyes never left the target. Every move was precise. Every step calculated. The aliens were astonished. Some of the younger warriors whispered among themselves, "He is clever, too clever for his size." The arena seemed to hold its breath. Kael's small figure rolled under the warrior's legs and landed behind him. With another quick motion, he used a rope attached to his platform, wrapping it around the warrior's leg. The alien stumbled and fell forward, crashing onto the metal floor with a deafening thud. Silence filled the arena for a moment, then exploded into shocked cries. Kael stayed calm, breathing slowly, moving with quiet confidence. He had done the unexpected. The crowd, once mocking him, now watched with a mix of fear and respect. But this was only the beginning. The arena would send stronger warriors next, stronger and more dangerous. Kael knew it. And he was ready. Even the strongest aliens were not prepared for what came next. Kael's mind was sharper than any blade. His calm determination radiated through his every action. The crowd whispered, "This human, he might actually survive." And somewhere deep in their hearts, even the mocking aliens began to doubt themselves. The slow, legless human had survived the first test. But the arena was just waking up. Bigger challenges, deadlier warriors, and unimaginable danger awaited. And Kael was ready to prove that being underestimated could be the deadliest weapon of all. The crowd's laughter echoed through the arena, louder than before, but now it carried a note of disbelief. Kael, the legless human, had survived the first warrior's attack with nothing but cleverness and speed. The aliens were beginning to wonder if perhaps their arrogance had been misplaced. Some whispered nervously, while others scowled, unwilling to admit their surprise. From the shadowy gate at the far end of the arena, the next warrior appeared. This one was massive, taller than most of the arena's pillars, its armor black and jagged, and eyes glowing like molten lava. Its 4 massive arms flexed as it approached, cracking the floor with every step. "The Crusher," the announcer boomed, and the alien crowd erupted with excitement. This was their strongest fighter. If anyone could defeat the human, it would be this creature. Kael did not flinch. He tilted his head slightly, eyes narrowing as he studied the Crusher. The alien was fast, yes, but predictable. Its strength alone did not make it clever. Kael's fingers brushed against a small control on his platform. Inside, hidden among compartments and tools, was his latest invention, a device small enough to hide, but strong enough to change the battle. The Crusher swung a massive arm, aiming to crush Kael's platform in one blow. The ground shook with the impact, sending small debris flying. But Kael had already anticipated this. He twisted his platform, rolling to the side with a speed that surprised even him. Sparks flew as metal scraped against the floor, and the crowd gasped. The human moved faster than any alien expected. "You think speed can save you?" roared the Crusher. Its voice echoed like thunder through the arena. Kael ignored it, his focus sharp. Every move was precise, every thought calculated. He knew brute force would not win. Only cleverness could. Kael's hands moved quickly. From his sleeve, he released a small gadget that shot a burst of sticky, glowing threads. The threads wrapped around the massive alien's legs and arms, slowing its movements. The Crusher struggled, swinging wildly but getting entangled. The crowd was stunned into silence. For the first time, the strongest warrior seemed uncertain. Kael rolled closer, carefully calculating his next move. He had no legs, no brute strength, but his mind was faster than any alien muscle. Using ropes and hooks attached to his platform, he swung around the Crusher, avoiding each blow with near-perfect timing. Each dodge made the alien angrier, more unpredictable. But that unpredictability was Kael's advantage. He noticed a small gap under the alien's chest, armor a weak spot exposed by its clumsy movements. Kael adjusted his position, rolling forward with a speed that seemed impossible. The Crusher tried to anticipate him, but Kael was already moving. In one swift motion, he struck the weak point with a small but powerful device, sending an electric pulse directly into the alien's armor. Sparks flew, and the Crusher roared in surprise and pain. The crowd's shock turned to excitement. Murmurs ran through the stands. "He is actually fighting." "And winning?" Kael rolled back, keeping his distance, watching carefully for any sudden attack. The Crusher lunged again, but now slower, cautious. Kael had forced it into defense, proving that brains could outmatch raw power. Every alien in the arena now had to admit a terrifying truth. This human, small and legless, was dangerous. Not because of strength, but because of cleverness, precision, and courage. Kael's calm demeanor only added to the tension. No matter how loud the aliens shouted, no matter how strong the next warrior might be, Kael's mind was his greatest weapon. As the Crusher stumbled backward, trying to regain control, Kael paused, breathing evenly. The arena held its breath. The next moment would decide whether this human was merely lucky or truly extraordinary. And Kael was ready to prove that even the slowest, weakest-looking human could change the course of battle with a single, brilliant move. The arena had grown quieter now, though the tension in the air was heavier than ever. The aliens had expected a simple victory, a show of brute power, and instead, they found themselves facing a human whose mind was sharper than any of their strongest warriors. Kael, still on his small wheeled platform, had survived 2 attacks, and the whispers in the crowd had changed from mockery to nervous speculation. From the shadows, a new challenger approached. Unlike the previous warriors, this one was lean but covered in hard scales, with sharp claws glinting under the arena lights. Its speed rivaled Kael's, and its eyes held a cunning intelligence. The alien crowd leaned forward, excited to see if the legless human could match agility with agility. Kael studied the approaching warrior, his hands resting lightly on the edges of his platform. He did not panic, though he knew the danger was real. He had no legs to chase or kick, but he had spent countless hours learning how to use his surroundings, his tools, and his mind to outsmart foes far stronger and faster than himself. The humans who had doubted him in the past would have called this impossible. Here, among aliens, he would prove it. The scaled warrior lunged first, claws slicing through the air with a speed that made the crowd gasp. Kael twisted his platform, rolling under the attack just in time. Sparks flew where the claws scraped the metal floor. He could feel the rush of air as the enemy passed overhead. He knew that charging head-on would be foolish. He needed a plan, a way to turn the arena itself into a weapon. Kael's eyes flicked to the arena's walls, lined with ropes, poles, and hooks that the aliens had not expected him to use. With a swift motion, he grabbed a hook and swung it over a high railing, pulling himself forward like a pendulum. The warrior followed, but Kael was already using momentum to roll out of reach, narrowly avoiding a swipe that could have crushed him. The crowd gasped, murmuring at the human's clever use of physics and tools. Each move Kael made was deliberate. He baited the warrior into lunging, then twisted at the last moment, using ropes and his small gadgets to create obstacles and traps. The alien's claws became entangled in sticky wires. Its speed was slowed. Every misstep Kael forced it to take was another small victory. The crowd was on edge. The humans among them whispered in awe. Even with nothing but his mind, he can fight. Alien spectators, once confident, now leaned forward in disbelief. Kael's calm, steady breathing and sharp eyes made it clear that he was never afraid. He understood his limitations, and he had turned them into his greatest strengths. The warrior lunged again, this time faster, attempting to anticipate Kael's movements. But Kael had already calculated the trajectory, rolling to the side and launching a small device that emitted a pulse of energy, forcing the alien to stumble. Sparks lit the arena floor, and the audience gasped. It was no longer luck, it was strategy, intelligence, and perfect timing. Kael's mind worked faster than any muscle around him. He knew the fight was not about matching strength or speed. It was about patience, observation, and precision. Every move from the warrior was countered with careful planning, and every mistake it made was an opportunity for Kael to advance. The alien had underestimated him, and that mistake was proving fatal. Finally, Kael spotted a small weak point under the warrior's shoulder armor. A quick calculation, a precise roll, and a well-aimed strike later, the warrior faltered, tripping over its own misjudged step. Kael rolled away, watching calmly as the alien struggled to regain balance. The arena erupted in murmurs of disbelief. The legless human had survived not by strength, but by strategy, by intelligence, and by clever use of his environment. Every alien present was forced to rethink what it meant to fight a human. Kael stayed on his platform, hands ready, eyes calm. The crowd's shock had turned into anticipation. The next challenge would be even greater, more dangerous. But Kael was prepared. His mind was sharp, his movements precise, and his courage unwavering. The slow, legless human had proven one undeniable truth: brains could be deadlier than brawn. And underestimating a human was a mistake no alien would forget. The arena trembled as the ground quaked beneath the steps of the next warrior. This was the Crusher, the massive armored alien who had been whispered about in fear even before Kael entered the arena. Its 4 powerful arms flexed as it advanced, each movement sending shockwaves through the metal floor. The alien crowd roared with excitement, certain that this time The slow, legless human would finally meet his end. Kael watched calmly from his small wheeled platform. He had faced warriors before, faster and cleverer than most humans could handle, but the Crusher was different. The sheer size and strength of the creature were terrifying. One misstep could crush him instantly. And yet, Kael's eyes were steady, scanning every inch of the massive alien's movements. The Crusher swung its massive arm, aiming to smash Kael's platform in one swift blow. The arena shook violently, and the smaller humans gasped in fear. Sparks flew as the metal floor groaned under the impact. Kael twisted just in time, rolling sideways with surprising speed, narrowly avoiding the strike. The crowd's cheers mixed with gasps of disbelief. How could a human, without legs, move so quickly? The Crusher swung again, this time with more force. Its armored fists collided with the floor just inches from Kael. The platform shook violently, throwing him slightly off balance. Pain shot through his arms, but he ignored it, focusing only on the warrior's patterns. Every strike was powerful, but predictable in its rhythm. Kael's mind worked faster than the massive alien could react. Using hooks attached to his platform, Kael swung upward, using momentum to avoid the next attack. The Crusher roared, frustration and anger echoing through the arena. It had underestimated him, thinking brute strength would be enough. Now, it found itself tangled in a battle of wits it could not easily win. Kael noticed the alien's legs were slightly exposed where the armor plates did not fully overlap. A risky move, but a potential weak point. Kael rolled closer, positioning himself perfectly. The Crusher lunged, but Kael twisted at the last moment, allowing the alien's fists to crash into the floor harmlessly. He threw a small device at the weak spot, and a pulse of energy sent sparks flying across the metal armor. The Crusher stumbled, shocked by the sudden disruption. The crowd's silence was deafening. No one had expected the human to even survive this long. Whispers ran through the stands. It's impossible. He shouldn't be alive. Kael's heart raced, but his face remained calm. He knew the danger was far from over. The Crusher was massive, angry, and capable of incredible speed despite its size. One wrong move now, and the human would be crushed. The Crusher swung again, faster than ever, smashing with both fists. Kael ducked, rolled, and swung his platform sideways to avoid the attack. Metal sparks flew. Pain radiated through his arms from the repeated force, but Kael pushed it aside. Focus, precision, strategy, that was his strength. The alien relied on sheer power. He relied on cunning. Kael baited the next attack, moving slightly to the left. The Crusher lunged, arms extended, and Kael used its own momentum against it. He hooked a rope to the alien's leg and yanked hard. The massive alien stumbled violently, almost losing balance. The crowd gasped, a mix of fear and awe filling the arena. For the first time, the strongest warrior seemed vulnerable. Kael rolled back a few feet, breathing steadily, observing the creature carefully. He knew he had survived a close call, but the fight was far from over. Every second, the Crusher grew angrier and more unpredictable. Kael's advantage lay in his mind, not his body. The audience watched, holding their breath, as the slow, legless human had turned what seemed like certain death into a tense battle of wits and skill. The stage was set for the next move, the moment that would decide if Kael could turn near defeat into victory. One wrong strike could end everything. But Kael's determination burned brighter than ever. His eyes locked onto the Crusher, calm yet piercing. The crowd leaned forward. Silence fell. The human had survived. And now he was ready to fight back. The arena held its breath. The Crusher, massive and terrifying, had stumbled, momentarily unbalanced by Kael's clever trap. The alien crowd gasped, their confidence shaken for the first time. Whispers spread like wildfire. Could the human actually win? Even seasoned warriors exchanged nervous glances, realizing the slow, legless human was no ordinary fighter. Kael remained calm, his eyes scanning the arena. Every second counted. One wrong move, and the Crusher's massive arms could crush him in an instant. But Kael's mind raced, calculating angles, distances, and timing with perfect precision. He had survived this far, not by speed or strength, but by thinking faster than his enemy. The Crusher roared, lifting its heavy arms to strike again. Sparks flew as the claws scraped the metal floor. Kael's platform rolled swiftly to the side, narrowly escaping the deadly swing. The alien was furious now, its movements unpredictable, but that was exactly what Kael wanted. Each miscalculated strike revealed a tiny opening, a weak point he could exploit. Kael reached for a small device hidden beneath his platform, a compact, magnetic pulse generator. With a flick of his fingers, he activated it. A low hum filled the arena, and suddenly, the Crusher's metal armor jerked violently. Sparks flew as the magnetic force disrupted the alignment of its armored plates. The alien staggered, confused and frustrated. The crowd erupted in shock. No human had ever managed such a feat against the arena's strongest warrior. Kael rolled closer, careful to stay just out of reach of the massive claws. He knew that brute force would not work. Only precision and timing could defeat this creature. His eyes scanned for the perfect angle. There under the alien's chest, where the armor plates overlapped imperfectly, was a vulnerable spot. With a deep breath, Kael used his hooks and ropes, swinging himself upward with momentum. The Crusher lunged to stop him, but Kael twisted at the last possible second, landing behind the alien. In one swift motion, he struck the weak point with a concentrated pulse from his device. Sparks flew and metal groaned. The Crusher stumbled violently, crashing forward with a deafening thud that echoed through the arena. The crowd was stunned into silence. The legless human had done the impossible. The once feared massive warrior lay faltering, caught off guard by brains and precision rather than brute strength. The alien spectators leaned forward, eyes wide with disbelief. Even the announcer's voice trembled with shock. Impossible. This human. He may actually win. Kael rolled back a few feet, breathing evenly, watching the staggering alien carefully. He was calm, collected, prepared for any desperate counterattack. His strategy had worked. He had turned the fight completely in his favor. Where the aliens expected a slow, weak target, they now faced a human whose mind was faster than any of their strongest warriors. The Crusher roared again, anger and pain vibrating through its massive body. Its eyes blazed with fury, but now hesitation had crept in. Kael had forced it to fight on his terms, and the alien's confidence was shaken. Each misstep was Kael's advantage. The crowd murmured in awe, realizing they were witnessing something extraordinary. Kael's hands gripped the platform tightly. He did not celebrate, did not gloat. Every move was still calculated, every second critical. The turnaround was not complete, yet the Crusher was dangerous, capable of sudden devastating attacks. But Kael's cleverness, his preparation, and his courage had shifted the balance. He had shown that even a legless human could change the course of battle. The arena buzzed with excitement and tension. The slow, underestimated human had survived every attack, turned the fight around, and now controlled the battlefield with intelligence and skill. The alien crowd, once mocking him, was silent with shock and respect. Kael's mind, faster than any muscle around him, had become his deadliest weapon, and the story was far from over. The ultimate test awaited, the moment when Kael would face his greatest challenge yet. But for now, the human had proven one undeniable truth. Being underestimated was a powerful advantage, and brains could triumph over even the strongest of warriors. The arena trembled with anticipation. Every alien spectator leaned forward, eyes wide, hearts pounding. The Crusher, massive and furious, had been humiliated by the slow, legless human. Sparks still flew from its misaligned armor, and its massive fists shook the metal floor as it struggled to regain control. Yet despite its size and strength, it was no longer the unstoppable force everyone had believed. Kael rolled calmly, his hands gripping the edges of his platform. He had studied the Crusher's movements carefully, calculating every angle, every swing, every misstep. The alien's rage made it faster but reckless, and Kael planned to use that against it. The audience held its breath. This was the moment everyone had been waiting for, the moment when the underestimated human would either triumph or fall. The Crusher lunged, swinging its massive arms in a desperate attempt to crush Kael. Sparks erupted where the claws struck the floor, sending shockwaves through the arena. But Kael twisted at the last possible second, letting the brute force of the alien's attack carry it forward. He rolled beneath its swinging arm and aimed a hook toward one of the exposed armor plates. With precise timing, Kael latched the hook onto the alien's leg and yanked with all his strength. The Crusher stumbled, its massive body jerking violently. Kael used the momentum, swinging around it like a pendulum, and aimed his platform onto the alien's center of balance. With a final pull, the Crusher toppled forward, its own weight crashing onto itself with a deafening roar. The arena shook as dust and sparks erupted into the air. The crowd erupted, not with fear this time, but with stunned amazement. The legless human, once mocked and underestimated, had defeated the strongest warrior in the arena. Alien after alien gasped, their eyes wide with disbelief. Even seasoned fighters who had believed the Crusher unbeatable were forced to stare in awe. Kael had done the impossible. Kael did not cheer. He remained calm, surveying the fallen warrior with steady eyes. Victory was not about celebration, it was about precision, strategy, and timing. Every move had been deliberate, every risk calculated. The crowd could not deny what they had witnessed. The slow, legless human had turned weakness into strength, proving that intelligence, courage, and cunning could overcome even the greatest physical power. The Crusher struggled to rise, but Kael had anticipated this. Using his hooks and ropes, he rolled forward and pinned the massive alien in place. Every attempt to push back only made it more trapped, more defeated. The audience, once skeptical, now watched in silent reverence. Whispers ran through the stands. This human, he is extraordinary, unstoppable. For the first time, the alien crowd saw what humans were truly capable of. Brains over brawn, cunning over raw strength, courage over fear. Kael, the slow, legless human, had crushed the mightiest warrior not by brute force, but by turning the fight into a game of strategy. When he controlled completely, Kael's calm eyes swept across the arena. The crowd, now silent with awe, began to murmur in respect. Even the announcer's voice trembled with disbelief. Never, never have we seen such a thing. The human, victorious. Kael's victory was complete, and yet he remained composed, ready for whatever challenge might come next. The arena had been changed forever. The alien warriors had learned that underestimating humans was a mistake. Kael had proven that even the weakest-looking human could defeat the strongest alien when mind and courage worked together. As dust settled, and the Crusher struggled beneath the clever human, Kael rolled back slightly, breathing steadily. The crowd leaned forward, captivated. Kael had turned an impossible situation into a triumph of strategy and skill. And in that moment, it was clear. The human was not just surviving. He was dominating. The story of the legless human defeating the strongest warrior would be remembered for ages, not because of brute force, but because of the brilliance, courage, and unyielding determination of one underestimated human. The arena was quiet now. But the silence was not empty. It was thick with awe and disbelief. The Crusher, once the mightiest warrior of the alien world, lay sprawled and defeated. Sparks from its damaged armor flickered across the floor. The crowd, which had laughed and mocked just moments before, now watched in stunned silence. All eyes turned toward Kael, the slow, legless human who had achieved the impossible. Kael rolled slowly across the arena, calm and composed, his eyes steady. He did not celebrate. There was no triumphant shout or boastful gesture. Every move was deliberate, controlled, and confident. The aliens stared, unsure how to react. Their strongest warrior had fallen, and yet the human showed no arrogance, only quiet strength and intelligence. Whispers began to ripple through the stands. He did it. A human. Defeated the strongest? Impossible. The crowd's disbelief slowly shifted into respect. Even young warriors who had cheered for the Crusher now looked at Kael with new eyes. They had underestimated him, and they had been wrong. The announcer's voice broke the silence, trembling with awe. Ladies and gentlemen, and all species present, today we have witnessed something extraordinary. A human, against all odds, has triumphed. The words echoed through the arena, and Kael's calm gaze swept over the crowd. He did not seek praise, but his victory spoke louder than any shout could. The other aliens began to step forward cautiously. The laughter was gone, replaced by nods of acknowledgement. Even some of the previous mockers bowed slightly, showing respect to the human who had proven them wrong. Kael paused as he passed the Crusher, whose massive body groaned beneath the strain of defeat. The Crusher lifted a single clawed hand in silent acknowledgement before collapsing again. Respect had been earned, not demanded. Kael's calm composure spoke volumes. Strength was not always about muscles or size. True power could come from courage, intelligence, and determination. The humans who had doubted him, the aliens who had mocked him, they all saw it now. Being underestimated could be a weapon. Thinking carefully, acting bravely, and using every advantage wisely, these were the tools of victory. As Kael rolled to the center of the arena one last time, the crowd began to cheer, softly at first, then louder. Not the mocking cheers of before, but a genuine admiration for what they had witnessed. Alien and human alike could sense that something extraordinary had happened. A new legend had been born, one that would be remembered for ages. The arena gates opened slowly, and Kael moved toward them. He did not rush. Every observer saw his deliberate, confident movements. Even without legs, without brute strength, he had commanded respect. He had shown that courage, intelligence, and resilience were just as powerful as any weapon. As he passed, the whispers turned into stories. The human who could not be stopped, they said. The one who turned weakness into strength. Kael had not only defeated warriors. He had changed minds, challenged assumptions, and inspired awe. For Kael, victory was not about glory. It was about proving a simple truth. Humans, even those who seem weak or slow, possess an indomitable spirit. The mind and courage could achieve what raw power alone could never. And in this alien world, where size and strength had always mattered most, Kael had shown that human brilliance was unmatched. The crowd erupted in unified applause, a sound that echoed across the arena and beyond. Kael paused, letting the moment sink in. Then, with quiet confidence, he rolled forward, ready to face whatever challenge might come next. The humans and aliens had learned a lesson that day. Never underestimate a human, for even the slowest, smallest, or weakest looking among them could accomplish the impossible. Kael disappeared through the gates, leaving behind a stunned but respectful crowd. The story of the legless human who crushed the strongest warrior would be told for generations. And somewhere deep in the hearts of those who had watched, a spark of inspiration had been lit.